What's good? What's good? It is a beautiful Tuesday. I am the Doc, John Macaroon, fresh off of resting, recapping minicamp. Oh my goodness, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it after golfing yesterday. It was nice to be out there at Allen Park. Dan Campbell started the day a little early. He was a little bit more in a festive mood, and it was a nice day. The weather I thought was cooperative, wasn't too hot, but it was a little bit warm in the morning. Mike Kafka appeared. For those of you that are like, where's Mike Kafka? Is he real? Is he a coach that wants to talk to the media? He talked to the media, and I asked him two questions. Now, I think one might have been a little bit presumptuous, as you would say, but it was a good question, I felt. So we'll recap what happened today. Dan Campbell was very interesting, and obviously he said, he was asked today. I thought the funniest moment was he was asked, "How do you avoid burnout?" And he's like, "I burn to the ashes and I rise back up." So it was good. So I have stories. Is the doc being watched at Lions practice? I have stories. Hit the super chats. I'll tell them. It was interesting. So it highlights how you got to kind of be a bulldog when you're a reporter. So it was interesting. If you go to at Detroit Podcast, I created a fresh graphic. The photo that you see in that graphic, I took. I showed you guys the camera. I took photos, videos. At Detroit Podcast, I think, is in the mix for giving you the coverage that you want. Told you that the practice was feisty. There were scraps, punches thrown. The takeaways you got to hear from one of the people that was throwing the punches. So I'll tell you that story. We'll talk about the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks were finding the defense today. Hello. It was nice to see the defense step up a little bit. The defense got off the mat a little bit. It was nice to see football related activities. And so we got a lot to talk about. But as always, you guys are the star of the show. I'm looking forward to it. Doughboy Steve, Riley O'Brien, Rich Baldwin, Marcus Newsom. 1, Pride, 313, the unknown Lion fan, Mike Kafka. Super Sailor Outlaw, George Ishak in the house. So let's talk. It was good, man. It was a fun time to be out there. Make sure you smash the like button. Again, we want to be around 50 likes. Thank you for tuning in. And it was fun to be out there at Minicamp. So obviously, Dan Campbell talked a lot, gave a little bit of the update regarding Avonte Maddox not being there. Tyler Conklin was not there. During the portion of practice open to the media, we did not see Tyler Conklin. Obviously, we didn't see Avonte Maddox. We didn't see Ben Barch. We didn't see Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch participating. I saw Kirby Joseph there as always, and I did not lay eyes on Brian Branch today. But I thought the coverage today was fair. I talked to Devin Cochran, the veteran tackle. He was throwing punches. It was wild to see three. It was like a little bit jarring. You're like, wait a minute, this is minicamp, and this is early in the day. Usually it's lighthearted, and him and 61 Anthony Lucas are swinging. And I'm talking about roundhouse rights. They were going at it. So I'll tell you that. We'll talk about some of the things we saw in terms of who was where. Obviously, recapping the interceptions. The defense was there. We talked to a lot of position coaches. We'll talk to more tomorrow. Look, here's what's going to happen. Here's the inside thing. We're going to save writing all those coaches until after minicamp. Obviously minicamp ends tomorrow. That's it for our time inside Allen Park. So we got to talk to as many people as possible to kind of get through the end of June. And then July will be the time where we preview training camp. So that's what it is. You're not going to see everybody just bombard you with what Hank Fraley said, Mike Kafka, the tight end coach, the quarterback coach. So you'll see that sprinkled out over the next couple of weeks at Lions on SI and elsewhere. But there was a lot to talk about. What do you want to know? Is there anything interesting to talk about? I do want to talk about after practice. And no, this is mandatory minicamp. Now, I think it wasn't excused, obviously, for Avonte Maddox. I think he said it was personal. But it was nothing serious. It is a mandatory minicamp. You have to attend. If you don't attend, you get fined. So if you go to at Detroit Podcast, I think you'll be enjoyed. I think just that Twitter page is really solid in regards to just giving you a little glimpse of what I see. And photos, videos. You get to see your quarterback's coach launching it into I think an elevated net to kind of improve accuracy. It was cool. Now I will say something. There is a more it's the spring. It's a friendly vibe. Brad Holmes gave me a little smile and a wink and a hello. Drew Petzing last week gave me a smile. I asked Mike Kafka after. I said, "How's your arm?" He gave me a nod. He's like, "It's still good." There's a lot of quarterbacks, in that coaching staff. So I asked Mike Kafka, if you want to laugh, I asked him, because I felt like it was just something to say, but I thought it was funny. So, because I just thought it on the spot. I said, "Mike, does Drew Petzing at all remind you of Andy Reid?" And you could almost see the gears turning in his head. Like, is he really asking me that? So go listen. You look. He's like, "Say that again." I'm like, I was trying to say it in a way like I know it's early, and I know it's a job maybe you want to have down the road, but I was like, does Drew Petzing remind you of Andy Reid? And and he's like, well, they're different people. Well, I know they're different people, but does any offensive genius status get there? So it was cool. Rich Baldwin 9042, which I will tell you in my coverage moving forward, Rich, every single practice from OTAs 1, 2, 3, and this one, if you go to Lions on SI, each day, the second practice ends, I have a list of players that are there. I can go in manually on my phone and add and take out people who are not there. I list as a story who's there. So Jared Goff was there. If you go to the website, the second practice ends, I have the document pretty much ready to go. And it's called directly attendance report because I know you guys like it. So those questions are funny. Was this guy there? That guy there? I literally write it for you too. So you always will have that information almost literally the second practice ends. It's kind of like my little cue that practice has ended. Yep. Rock was back. Shout out L Word Crypto. Good to see you in here. Hope to see more of you. So let me get to one of the first things. Let me get you to the recap. So obviously they have the warm-ups. They do the positional drills, individual type stuff. You see Terry and Arnold. You start doing the attendance. Luckily, being that we were out there early, I got to see all the players come out from the locker room because we talked to the assistant coach. I just stayed out on the field. So it was great. I had the attendance done early. So within 10 minutes of the practice starting 12:10, by 12:20, I could just watch. And it was cool. It was cool to see, the players getting warmed up, getting ready to go. And then they go through a 7-on-7 period. And then they go through a team period. And, the defense had its say. The linebackers might have made a little bit of an adjustment, whether it be just positionally, they were able to get their hands on footballs. The quarterbacks could have given up maybe two more than they had. They had 3 interceptions. So the defense was making a stand. And it was cool to see Jimmy Rolder make a play. It was cool to see some of the individual drills. I liked watching the quarterback sling it a little bit. I liked seeing an undrafted rookie, Amaris Brown, get an interception. So that was cool. A vet, Chuck Clark, getting an interception. So, you go from there and then you realize, okay, it was good. You get the first team reps, second team reps, third team reps all the way through with 7-on-7 and full team. And it was good. You had some opportunities where you saw, man, Luke Altmaier has that little bit of that zing on the football when he can roll out. He's not Lamar Jackson athletic, but he can move the football. He can move and still have a strong arm. It's nice to see. Luke Altmaier, and he delivered a zip pass that was just everyone's like, wow, wow, accuracy's good, and you're like, okay, at least in pajamas, he looks the part. Like he doesn't look out of place at all. He's zipping the ball, but he did throw an interception. So, but it's practice. But obviously, to get it going, let's do a roll call again. X the Trim Reaper, K Wills in the house, One Pride 313. Yeah, today the two guys that I said, if you ask me who had the roughest days, McCreary and Teddy Bridgewater, I thought had the roughest days. Okay, so early on, and again, it's in the little walkthrough portion. Like it wasn't like full on like go time. And obviously now we're hearing reports that the Lions have added two UFL receivers. They're not done. So the fresh off, we'll talk about them later on today. Two new receivers for competition. That's a lot of competition. 6'3", 213-pound receiver. Wow. Lucky Jackson and Tariq Black. But the signings are not official yet. The transaction report has been released for today, and nothing was on it for the Lions. But two more receivers. We'll obviously be talking about that at Lions on SI. As is the case. Champions. It says looks like Jackson was with the Vikings for a couple of years. We'll talk about him here a little bit later after a break. Two new receivers added to your Detroit Lions roster. So the signings are going to happen, but they're not official. They're probably on tomorrow's transaction report. Rich Baldwin lets us know. Back to the Saints. No Cam Jordan for the Lions. Lucky Jackson and Tariq Black. Okay, so early in practice, we start seeing some swinging. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. We're like, wait a minute, this is aggressive. And what was funny was prior to the practice starting, you get Hank Fraley talking about, Dan Skipper and saying that he's a natural, he's great. He's like, they had to give him a rule like you can't fight the players, no fighting the coaches. And this was during like what was jarring was it was during the walkthrough part where basically the quarterback hikes the ball, identifies certain parts of where he needs to go, identifies the the defense, and points to where he's going to go or where the target should be. Dan Skipper had to step in between Devin Cochran, a tackle, a reserve tackle, and rookie defensive end Anthony Lucas. So they're swinging. The next rep, they swing again. They swing again. And we're like, whoa, whoa. We're like, is this going to be? I thought for a momentary time, that maybe there was going to be a full-on offense defense brawl. So again, this is during. Um, uh, here's what's crazy is someone on X messaged me and says, "Hey, you got film of it?" I can't film practice. I'm not allowed. They give us a 20-minute window where the guys are stretching and doing position. Today was 20 minutes. It was good. Before it's been 5. We had 20 minutes. Why you saw so much of TA, Jimmy Rolder, Jared Goff. We had some extended time, so that was awesome. Okay, so now here's story time. Okay, and I think it's never happened to me before, but I think I understood it. So obviously, if there's going to be a fight, right? If there's going to be a fight between two players, as a reporter, naturally you want to talk to the two players that are fighting. What happened, right? So I see 61 come off the field, and there was a little bit of confusion as to whether his day was done or, because it was right around the end of time. They were pretty timely with when they told us the practice would end. So he was kind of figuring out, was his day's work done? Did he have to do special teams? Did he have to do anything? So now he starts to walk off. So I'm about to approach him. I'm like, I want to go ask him, like, what happened? So he's talking to somebody. I don't know who it is. I've never seen him. There's a couple people there with t-shirts. I didn't know who it was at all. So he's talking. I'm walking like almost behind him. I'm waiting like for a pause in the action to call out his number. So I'm about to hit his shoulder. I'm walking, walking, walking. Someone's like, no, you won't let that one pass. I'm like, wait, what? So that never happened to me before. No one has ever said, well, I can assume he was talking to somebody, but typically they say he's got to work out. He's got to do this. He's got to like this. It was basically like I was told, don't go ask him for his time. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm easy going. I'm like, okay, but it was weird. That's never really happened, and I don't think that was the first time I was directly told, don't ask for an interview. Now, I wonder what he would have said. So, but listen, in this work, you got to be a bulldog. Okay. And I truly believe God makes things happen for a reason. I'm not going to stop. So then, okay, 61's off the table. I was told don't talk to him. And he was talking to somebody else. So, it might have been interjecting, but still, you got to ask the questions. So, I see 70. I talked to Dan Jackson. The story's up. I see 77 walking alone. I'm like, hello, I'm John with On Sports Illustrated. He's like, nice to meet you, John. Friendly dude. And we start talking. And we're being I didn't notice because I always look at the person directly in the eye. Now, this is a tall man, but I noticed there's someone to my right. But I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep talking. I couldn't make him out exactly if it was a Lions person or somebody else, but there was somebody there. So I could sense, I didn't know who, but I'm like, I'm going to talk. So I was talking about his game, Dan Campbell, Hank Fraley. And then I asked him the question and he gave a great quote. It was awesome. And I shared it. It was awesome. I said, what happened? And this is what he told me. It was awesome. I mean, it's literally perfect. It wasn't like, I wasn't headline hunting. I just said, hey, what happened in the scrap? I know you and 61 got into it. What happened? And of course, what do you think? What do you think my job is? My job is to bring you guys additional insight. And I was the only person I think to talk to. Number 77. He was a good dude. And I knew him from last year. He's seen me walking around. He's like, 61 is awesome. He pushes me every day. He's a reserve tackle. This is a defensive end. They're going to battle. He pushes me every day. He's probably the one guy we've got on this hit list. You're always going to have one. Today, it got a little chippy, a little feisty, and we just started throwing hands. Now, he said he'd love to battle Anthony Lucas every day. He's like, that's the job. He's like, I'd fight him every day. So that was awesome. He naturally told me. It was great. It was fun. And it was cool. So I got to add that in the observation. That's what you do is you bring extra knowledge as to what happened. And it's interesting. I mean, you punched a dude. And 61 has irritated. He's the only one that's irritated the offensive line to get his name known like that. That's the job, is to bring you guys additional insight as to what happened. No assuming. And the Lions are like, the Lions are watching, lurking. I don't get it. Like, I mean, that's my job, but I get it. Like, you don't want me going, Hey man, it's like you don't want me asking the guy like, listen, I know how to do the job. I know how to ask questions, but it's just funny. I've never had someone say don't ask. Because I mean, if the player didn't want to talk, he could just be like, "No, I'm talking to this dude. I'm busy." So, but you know me, the doc is a DAWG baby. I bring you the information. That is the job, is to battle. And two, the Lions were like, a lot of times too, the players are done, they're tired, they're hot, they just want to scoot in. It was like I blinked, I talked to Dan Jackson, and half the players were gone. Whew. Time is like it's fast paced, man. It's fast paced. Like I never thought that having another reporter was really necessary until this summer. I'm like, yeah, I probably need somebody else, but it's fine. I think my coverage at Lions NSI is competitive with the lone wolf. And you tell me. So as we speak, Christian's researching the two new receivers. In about a half hour, probably you'll have an update on the site about who these guys are and what they bring to the table. So again, remember, the doc is a lone wolf, and I'm a lone wolf because where I walk around the facility, the eyes are watching. What's he saying? What's he doing? Who's he at? Who's he asking? That tells me I'm doing a good job. That just puts a big smile on my face. Where's he at? Where's that little midget at? Oh, little midget's roaming. Oh, little midget got to 77. They're like, damn it. I wonder if that's the code, if they have a code name. I wouldn't mind. Listen, I'm so easygoing. I get it. I know. I respect their job, but their job directly conflicts with my job. Little midget's on the loose. Look, what do you want me to do? I gotta talk. And plus, 61 looked mad. He looked like he might have, where you almost had to turn on the video. He might have said something. So that's what I'm willing to do. I just, that's what a reporter does. I'm also genuinely interested as a fan. Like, why did 61 piss you off so much? And that's the whole purpose, which is, Devin Cochran didn't say anything terrible. He just talked the truth. He talked football. He's like, that dude is annoying us. So we're going to start swinging. It's football. See, in the perfect world, they just would let the players roam and there would be none of that. But I get it. I get it. Rich, they've been practicing with each other for 3 weeks. You'd expect to hear some of the altercations. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. In my mind, I am not 6'4". Unfortunately, God gave me health, happiness, great mental health, great friends, great personality, sports knowledge, sports love, grit. He just didn't give me average male height. But that's okay. That's okay. I've been given 50 things better. Yes, sir. So that was that. So listen, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bring any additional insight. So you can read what Devin told me. I made a little graphic. It was cool. And that photo I took of Anthony Lucas was cool. So I used my camera today pretty well. I was snapping pictures and talking to Dave Burkett. So it was cool. Doughboy Steve, Doc has a 6'4" personality. So it was scrappy, which you like to see. Now I'll just ask you. I mean, because some people were messaging me on X. Well, Lucas is gonna fight his way out of practice. He's not disciplined. Do you care? I mean, I loved it. I was like, oh, it was like some passion, it was good. And then Dan Skipper walked over and handled business and got everything back under control. So it was scrappy. Scrappy, make scrappy time. Michael Shembry, Doc is a fine-tuned athletic machine. Yeah. I will be, though. I probably should start after Wednesday. Got to get back in the gym. No doubt about it. Okay, Will, what I can say is that, he's been working primarily on the second field, third team mostly, but he was talking with Kelvin Shepard afterwards on a rep. I'm seeing a lot more, just because of the way that the way they did it, it's just not conducive for viewing right now. They started on the a far 8-yard line. So all I can see is Tyrus Wheat mostly and Aiden Hutchinson. And then the second team, you're just looking at the quarterback and you're looking at I was looking a lot at the safeties, who was where. So tomorrow I will look more at the defensive ends. But mostly he's behind Peyton Turner, behind DJ Wonham, behind Tyrus Wheat. Tyrus Wheat's getting a lot of big end looks. So the big thing you're seeing is scrappy. Yes, I can look Drew Petzing in the eyes. That's why he smiled. I joked with another reporter. I said Drew Petzing was probably happy there was another reporter he could see eye to eye with. So am I. That's the number. I'm 5'6" too. Hey, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. MC3, who dat? I heard Chuck Clark doesn't smile. Chuck Clark has not smiled since COVID. Has not smiled. All right. Let me recap the interceptions. So obviously Scrappy, tell me, what do you think? What do you think about the scrappiness? A reserve tackle and an undrafted free agent throwing down. Detroit Lions quarterbacks throw 3 interceptions. Each quarterback on this roster threw a pick. Now you could say, well, the defense is in tune, but it was awesome. It was 7-on-7. Teddy Bridgewater's the quarterback. It was after a completion that Teddy had to number 8, I believe Dortch, or whoever number 8 is. I wrote number 8. The next play, 7-on-7, Jimmy Rolder high pointed the ball and got the interception. He was athletic. He recognized it, and it was a nice pick, and he would have got some return yardage. Now, Bridgewater on his next rep that we saw zipped the ball and had a nice completion. My note was nice rebound, and he zipped it over linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez's head and got a completion to Lovett, number 19. Jimmy Roller showcased a little bit of athleticism, fluidity, and coverage. Stock up for Jimmy Roller. He's fluid. He looks like he belongs. He looks like a linebacker. Props. Amaris Brown got Luke Altmaier during 11-on-11 full team. Altmaier hesitated a little bit, just that little extra, and Jabari Small, the running back, was the intended target, and he jumped the route. Now, some of the media debated whether there could have been a flag if he got there a second early, but listen, in practice, that was an interception. The first team comes back on the field, and Chuck Clark ends that right away. Jared Goff sailed a pass over Amon-Ra St. Brown's head, and he might not have had the right. Amon-Ra might not have been in the exact location maybe Goff thought he'd be, but boom. Chuck Clark, just best way to put him, he's a pro. He knows where to be. He might have, in a real simulated drill with pads on, he might have lit up Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the 3 people that got picks today: safety Chuck Clark, undrafted rookie cornerback Amaris Brown, and Jimmy Rolder. Khalil Dorsey almost had a pick on a pass intended for Isaiah Pacheco. Nick Whiteside had some nice pass breakups. Lauren Strickland, number 24, should have had a pick off of Bridgewater. What do you make of the improved defense? Let's get some feedback. I hear Chuck Clark and Christian Ijian have been the two safeties out there with the ones. Yes, correct. Number 12 has been with the second and third. Doughboy Steve. So is Jaden Daniels the next Lamar? Oh, he can run fast but can't toss the rock. We shall see this year what kind of growth Jaden Daniels has. I think we played the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken, maybe in the preseason. Doe, what up, Seki? What's good? Did TA have a pick? No. He did a lot of individual work. I did not see him with the situational period. I did not see that. Individual work for TA. The big thing that people are noticing is TA. The big notice is TA has been on the second field working with Ennis Rakestraw in the warm-up periods. 4 and 2. Sorry, 6 and 2. We haven't seen Terrion work with today. I believe it was Khalil Dorsey, Rock Yassin on the outside, along with DJ Reed on the first field. So I think it's going to be asked, like, what's going on with Terrion? Do they want him to work his way back? What's the deal? But he hasn't been on the first field yet. And I know Dan Campbell said don't read into it. So maybe I won't ask it because he'll be like, didn't I tell you don't read into it? But I'll be like, I want to know why he's repping on the second field. Isn't that the fair question to ask? So Rock Ennis did earn some first team reps too, but JMO cooked Rakestraw. Rakestraw got cooked by Tesla and JMO. But the defense settled down. Now, when someone said, hey, the deepest play of the game went to TK85. Great pass by Altmaier, but he cooked McCreary. So again, McCreary and Bridgewater were the two I felt like didn't have their best days. Levi Onwuzurike is not getting, I've noted here, 95 is not getting a lot of reps. It's a lot of time with the reserves. Those that are getting a lot of reps, Aiden, McNeil, Mekhi Wingo, Peyton Turner today. DJ Wonnum and Derek Moore still getting plenty of time. And the same thing with the offensive line. Borum and Miller are splitting the time. When it was full team, Miller was out there quite a little bit more. But Juice Scruggs is in the mix. So a lot of interesting rep combinations. TK every year is a standout, yet he's still a reserve. I know, right? You know, Phil C., it's a good question. Here's been my approach because there's just one of me, right? And they air today. They aired Isaiah Pacheco. They aired an interview with Isaac Tesla and one more player, Chuck Clark, maybe. So here's the thing. When the Lions have their podium guys standing up in front of the microphone, I've been waiting for players to come off the field to talk to them to give you a little bit more because we can just go right now on YouTube and see those interviews with those guys on the podium and all the coaches. I want to talk to players and you guys said, hey, talk to Dan Jackson. You guys said, talk to Ahmed Hassanin, Dan Jackson, Keith Abney. So I'm bringing you a unique interview every day, and I'm having the guys write the stories of the podium guys. Do you guys like that, or do you want me to bring you the main event? You tell me. I took the stance of this spring. I am not gonna. And if you watch the videos, you don't see me asking questions. I am gonna get guys coming off the field and bring you different interviews as opposed to the podium guys. You tell me though. Do you want me to bring you the podium stuff right away? The Teslas, the Pachecos, the meat and potato guys. Those are going to be the star names. But today, you got to hear from Dan Jackson from me, only I. So you guys tell me. But I just thought that what you guys have been liking is it seems like the reception has been good. You guys really like the Keith Abney interview. Dan Jackson was a little bit more Dan Jackson was a little bit more professional in regards to succinct, quick answers. He didn't elaborate fully on a lot of stuff. Yep. One-on-one time with Mr. Dan Jackson. He used the word. He's like he wants to be an enforcer. Just talked to him a little bit about coming back. He took the opportunity to use mental reps to get the game plan and corrections and learn from last year. But now he's just learning from the vets and getting after it. He's not a man of many words, at least early on. It was my very first interaction with him today. So basically, in 3 minutes, I rifled through like 9 questions. So we kept it short. But I passed it along, and Christian highlighted what Dan Campbell said, and we got it. We got a story out. So those are the big things that happen. Obviously, Amon Ross St. Brown and Jared Goff's connection is there. The core, it wasn't as today. The offense wasn't as slick as I think you would like. There were some things, obviously, with some drill work. Did you guys? If you go on X, you can see Jared Goff and Mark Brunell throwing into the accuracy. It was a net, and it's a great tool. They obviously have the one with the 4 slots, and the coaches can call off different slots for the quarterback to throw it in. But the net was cool. It's an accuracy drill, and it's tough. It teaches you touch, it teaches you and some competition too. So I did not see that. I don't know, man. I feel like from my studies, I feel like the Lions have not targeted a player in a supplemental draft in a good, let's do my math here. Let's do the quick doc math on a late Tuesday after a long day of NFL coverage. So in a good 35, 40 year, I think the 80s. And actually the funny part is I want to learn more about the supplemental draft. The Lions, I don't think take advantage of it too much. That's deep in terms of roster additions. Deep supplemental. The supplemental draft. I would be surprised because Luke Altmaier's doing his thing. Listen, man, that thing, I think, somebody coming off of a gambling situation, whatever the degree of his issues, I would pass. But you guys tell me. After the break, we'll have that kind of open discussion. Do you want Sorsby added? That's interesting. All right, that's a good time. Man, 45 minutes. I don't think Jake Bates was a supplemental draft. Let me see. I don't think so at all. I'm just going off the top of my head here. When was let me Google it just to hit here. That's off the top of my head. I don't think so. When was the last time Lions drafted a player in the supplemental draft? Because don't you have to give up a draft pick to use it? Don't be coming here with no fake news. The last time, according to AI. Oh, there you go. I was right. Look at that. Look at that. The last time, according to you can battle me, sir, friend, but the last time the Lions selected a player in the NFL supplemental draft was in 1984. Al Williams, George Jameson, Doug Holly. So there you go. I was right. Boom. That's off the top of my head. That's pretty good. Look, he's on the third team. He's learning. Like like an inexperienced player. There are reads. I don't think any quarterback was like super duper, but he had a throw. I thought he had the throw of the day. He rolled out and zipped that ball in there. So I thought Luke Altmaier, for what he's going to bring to the table, for a guy that went undrafted, has an opportunity. But I don't know if he's going to top Teddy Bridgewater, but I think he's somebody to develop. I wouldn't say he's struggling. I just think today was a little bit of accuracy, timing. Remember too, these guys on defense are hearing that the offense, they're hearing that their unit is the weakest. So they came out, they were flying all over the place and they were making plays. They made things a little more difficult. They're trying new things. But yeah, the best way to put it is Luke Altmaier is the third quarterback at this point in time. Did you see that beautiful throw he made? I got that on tape. That was good timing on my part. All right, let's take a little bit of a break and we'll come back. We'll talk about the two new additions, wrap up a little bit of mini camp. And again, highlight of the day, Jimmy Rolder. I felt like TK had some opportunities, but also the ball came in and out of his hands a couple times. But in the two notes I made in the individual drills, look, it's just them throwing to each other. 85 made a nice one-handed grab, and Tesla makes over-the-shoulder catches look kind of routine. He's just like, bloop. He just handles business like he was born to catch the football. Those are two notes I made as well. He just fluid. He just looks like a natural. So yeah, to confirm via the NFL reporter, the last time the Lions used a supplemental draft was the 80s. And I don't think they're going to take a chance to give up a draft pick for Sorsby. But I'll ask you, do you want to do it? You tell me. All right, quick timeout here. And I'll stand up a little bit, hydrate. Everybody get your thoughts in order. We can talk a little bit about the new receivers and any other thoughts you guys have. Fire away. Hit the like button for the doc. If you don't keep liking the stream, if you don't go through and in the next 3 minutes, just go through a bunch of videos and hit the like button, I may not come back. I'm just kidding. I'll see you in about 3 minutes. Aha, good 3 minutes, 180 seconds away. Did you miss me? Right now we got 200 people in here, 40 on YouTube, one. Good number. 150 on X. Yeah, I'm on my hydration break. I'm not a fan. I am really not a fan. I know it's hot. Looks like Norway's about to wrap up. Your World Cup report. Unfortunately, Sterling Heights, I'm heard, has fallen, crestfallen with sadness. They're about to lose 3-1. The typical boisterous St. Sterling Heights community has fallen silent for a change. But give it 5 minutes and they'll be rowdy again. France defeated Senegal. Mbappe's awesome. Holland is awesome for Norway. 9 o'clock, you get Argentina. If you're staying up late, Austria and Jordan play at midnight. Tomorrow, you get England at 4 o'clock against Croatia. That's your World Cup 45-second update. All right. Any questions you guys got about minicamp? One of you asked about Keith Abney. He's always looking good. I think that, Keith Abney is a player that I think is going to battle for the slot, have an opportunity for a special teams role. We'll see, but I don't know if he's had a lot of experience in that. But I feel like he's got a little bit of an uphill climb, But if Roger McCreary doesn't catch up to pace, that might be the next man up. That'll be a fun watch. I like his quickness. I like his lateral movement. But his size, I think, is going to prevent him from being an outside corner fully. Will you be adding stoppage time to the end of the show? The odds are more likely, Rich Baldwin, is that I say something stupid and I get red flagged from the YouTube and they just kick me off. I might get pulled aside and be like, the stuff you say you're not supposed to say. Be like, listen, man, when I turn on the microphone and I see this beautiful Rode microphone. Great question. Very big for those newbie. The Vikrant Wadera 322. Vic Rant Wade HRA. I don't know. Put together how you want to say that. Capital V. Here's why I'm called the doc. No, close, Rich. Close, Steve. No. So, I am a mental health therapist. I went to UAD. I'm a psychologist with a license. And I am not a full doctor. But what happened was, it's a nickname. I am not, because I would fully be like, I am Dr. John Macaroon. So here's what happened. I have a master's degree. I'm practiced psychology for 25 years. I have an active license. Here's my credentials, which you can always see online. These are my credentials. But here's how it started. So, and actually, I always joke around about my wife saying to my wife, she called the podcast a hobby. So when I started a podcast in 2013, we didn't want to be the John and Adam show. That sounded stupid. Or the Adam and John show. So what do? We sat down, we wrote names on the table, and we said, My cousin Adam is a muscular hockey player. He's ripped. He's a big boy. So I don't, and that's the one thing, Doughboy Steve, no pills for the DOC. I'm not dispensing no pills. Psychology, talking. This guy, Freud. Our hero, Freud. Tell me how your mom feels. So we're sitting down, and my wife thought of the name in 3 seconds. She goes, simple name. She goes, this is what you're going to call yourself. Call yourself Doc and Jock. And we're like, wow, that rolls right off the tongue. So I'm the Doc John Macaroon because it makes sense. What up, Doc? And, all that fun stuff. But I am a mental health expert with a license practicing for 25 years. But now I'm more, doing a little bit more in the sports world because it's lucrative and I'm very passionate about it. So that's why I'm the doc. I'm the Doc John Macaroon. DOC. And plus, by the time 2 years after, college, um, 2 years after college, uh, I had enough. 6 years of that type of stress was too much. So I got a master's degree from the University of Detroit Mercy, and I was happy. Get me out. Get me out. Are you saying why do I do less therapy now? If you're asking that, I have a private practice. I have an office, but when I first started, I was 24 years old. I worked in the inner city of Detroit. That was my first job that I took. Horrible pay, but amazing benefits. And 2 weeks off between Christmas and New Year's, and every holiday off, and full benefits. So I worked in the inner city of Detroit, and it gutted me. It was story after story after story that would rip your heart out day in, day out. That's where you build grit day in, day out. But number one thing is you be human. You treat the kids with respect, you learn, you laugh, you teach them resiliency, you teach them to overcome, you teach them that things are temporary, you battle. And so I did that for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And then I kept moving on, moving up. And then the podcast, it was just as equally as fun. So it just became where, the sports is a lot more enjoyable, and obviously I think I'm passionate about it at the same token. So they both offset each other. So I'm just doing a little bit less of the practice, but still seeing clients at a high level. But just sports, I think, if you guys pay attention, I think I like podcasting and talking um a little bit more. But I have two equal passions. What a blessing, huh? 8:10 alert. Detroit Tigers face Houston. Did you work? Nope. I worked for I worked for a community mental health agency, then I worked for a private company, and then I got my own thing. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, I have a healing heart. I have I think a motivational style. People like to talk to me, and I'm easy and really outside of, I did piss off the Red Wing fans overnight, but yeah, I'm an easy guy to talk to. But, I like to speak my mind in sports. And I really do like this. I like being an NFL reporter. And actually, like, again, it's really stupid to say it out loud, but I keep saying it. The only reason I'm an NFL reporter was people told me I couldn't be. That's the only reason. It's the only that was not my career vision. It was just to have a podcast and yell about the teams and talk with my guy Adam. That was it. But once the teams in town were like, podcasts aren't real media, I was like, oh, we got a whole different course here. That's it. I mean, it's the honest truth. It's stupid to say. It really is. I'm only a reporter because people think that content people are off the wall, and I'm like, no, we're just covering it from a different angle, covering it from a little different slice of reporting. That's all. So yeah, like if someone asks me, I'll always say it. The only reason I'm an NFL reporter is because they told me I couldn't be. That's it. That's it. And it's crazy because in the end, you serve the audience, and I think talking to people and engaging in conversation, and really, I always tell people I'm just a really good psychologist, and I use those skills to parlay it into the sports media world. I am an excellent psychologist. And how do you feel about that? So let me enter this banner here. What are the Lions getting in these two new receivers? Now, if you want to hear a funny joke real fast, I have done, let's just say, 40 hours a week. So that's 200, 2,000 times 20. Let's just say 50,000 hours of therapy. I have one bad Google review. That's it in the whole 25 years. So I can't go to the 4,000 clients and be like, hey, can you write a good review about me? And I had to remove forcefully one review. You know why? Do you know what one person went to Google to say? Which luckily I think Google did not recognize after a year. It was funny to read it, and I have it framed up here. and please don't judge me for saying this, but one person went to Google, found my name, and wrote as a review of me as a psychologist. Never seen me as a client, never met the man in my life. He wrote, if he is as bad of a psychologist as he is covering the Lions, he must suck. That was his review. And it was allowed to stay on the internet for a year. I had to call Google like 4 times. I'm like, he has never seen me. He is using something else to review me as a psychologist. But after a year, they took it down. But I framed it. I framed it. If he's as bad a shrink as he is a reporter, he must suck in psychology. That was the review. And I smile when I see that. I'm looking at it right now. If he's as bad a shrink as he is a writer, he must be the worst shrink ever. And it was and I thought it was a perfect metaphor for life. One, those were two reviews out of the whole career I had would indicate that I suck at the job, would indicate that I'm not talented or not compassionate, but I can't say I have 4,000 good reviews because nobody's going to write it. So it's like I'm a secret good guy. And in some way, I kind of like it that way. I like for the people to read the one bad review and the other nonsensical review and to formulate a judgment about me. And that's I think the slice of life that I kind of like, where someone would say, wait a minute, he's been in practice for 20 years, no complaints. But he's got one bad review and one review about his and one psychology review about his writing. uh it really I liked it that way. That's how I like it. I like for some people to think I suck at what I do based off of one review. And the whole I can't I wish I could tell Google like I've been in practice for 25 years. If it was actually accurate, I have 10,000 hours of good therapy and one bad review and one sports review. It just makes me laugh, so I framed it. I'd say that's a dominant performance. That's a dominant career. I think so too. Right? My guy tried to prescribe Xanax. I said, hell no, I like whiskey too much. Thank you guys for asking. Those are good questions. All right. What are the Lions getting in the two new receivers? Here they go. Here we go. We got someone named, I think, Lucky. Let me get the names here as I'm pulling it up here and getting the reports from Christian. It's now on the site. You can follow along. Both of them just won the UFL championship. So Brad Holmes tells the truth. When he spoke to Woodward Sports, he said, we're not done. And he's never done. Lucky Jackson. All right, just on a side note, Lucky Jackson and Tariq Black. They've agreed to come to Detroit. It's not official yet. So that'll probably be tomorrow. You'll see the official welcome to Detroit. Welcome to Detroit. Lucky Jackson and Tariq Black. Both were on the Louisville Kings, second and third in receiving. Jackson finished with 32 receptions, 392 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Black had 27 catches for 388 yards. Oh my God, are you serious? I knew that name. Tariq Black went to Michigan and Texas. He's had stints with the Dolphins, Steelers, Ravens, Jets, Colts. But he's 6'3", 213 pounds. Tariq Black, Derek Moore, Aiden Hutchinson. It's the Michigan connection. It's haunting me. Man, time flies. I've covered games with Tariq Black at Michigan. Wow. Time flies. He's already bounced around the league that much. Roll call for those in here. Raw Biz, Rich Baldwin, Extra Trim Reapers in the house, Doughboy Steve, Steve Wilds. Steve is on board. Bro, those two new wide receivers are goats. And Austin's like, do we really need more receivers? The more the merrier. I was telling Jeff Risen today, just keep adding on offense. That's the joke I told Jeff. I'm like, everyone thinks they're going to add more defense. I think they're going to add more offense. I told him that directly. We had a fun chat. Ah, Doughboy, that's really nice. Doc, your show, this fine Lone Wolves podcast, is perfect for me being home alone with a disability. Who needs a therapist when you and the Wolf Pack are available nightly? Hey-oh. Listen, man, thank you. That means a lot. Your membership and your commitment to listening on a daily basis, nightly basis. The freaks come out at night, so that means something's wrong with you. But I love seeing you in here. I truly do. I love seeing the same names over and over. Phil C., Donkey Kong, Saki, Austin L., Gavis Con, Riley O'Brien. When you see the same people in here, it makes it fun. We're all in the same community. We're all hoping and figuring that the Lions eventually, one of these years, are going to put together a nice run. Now, I will ask you this sidebar, because I saw some of you in the comments, because I like to listen back to Dan Campbell's pressers and listen to the stuff on YouTube and see what you guys write. One of you guys wrote to Corey's question, why is a Lions reporter asking about the Knicks? I thought it was a good question. Good question, because it basically is like the Knicks have waited 50 years for a title. The Lions fans have waited since the 50s for their title. So it was kind of tying the two together. And obviously Corey has that basketball tie. But you guys were like, why would you ask that? I thought it was a good question by Corey, because Dan also coached in New York. He's seen it, and he can kind of have a little bit of a connection to understanding the pain and misery of the Knicks fans. So Tariq Black and Lucky Jackson, what do you guys think? I think you're getting more competition. I asked Scotty Montgomery today, if you've seen the video, I asked him about Cedric Wilson. I wonder if that means anything, if anything happened. But that's a lot of receivers. Jackson Meeks, Dominic Lovett, Dortch. The Lions are loading up at wide receiver. What do you think? What do you make of it? I'll get some feedback here. I just got to post it to one more place. Lucky Jackson. What's your reaction to new additions? I mean, how many more receivers does the team need? Special teams bodies, some of you are saying. Well, that's fair. We're adding it to one more location to Facebook. We have added the title, now the photo. Boom. The nighttime is the right time. Facebook now has the story too. So we've got it everywhere. Yeah. Brad likes those big, tall receivers. 6'3". New wideouts being added. I thought that Jackson Meeks and Lovett have done okay, but there's always competition. Jared's like, bigger, get me bigger. Get me bigger. Bigger bodies. He's like, I like throwing at Tesla. It's easier. He's like, throwing at TK is a little tougher. He's like, all that work I had to do to be precise with Amon Ra, get me taller. Black is 6'2" and kind of projects more as the outside receiver. And Jackson's more of the special teams ace, special teams wizard. Tariq Black, huh? Yeah, that's not news. Jackson Meeks has repped at tight end for quite a bit, even last year, and then we saw at OTAs too. I don't know if it's a full time thing. I got to pay more attention to the second units because I'm obviously paying attention to when Laporta's out there, when Kitzelman's out there. He has played reps. I don't think it's a full time move yet. But yeah, in my story on Lions NSI with an observation, I said Dan Campbell commented on it last year. They're intrigued with Meeks at tight end. Great question. And like I said, you guys can ask questions about anything. My thoughts on World Cup, thoughts on the Tigers, whatever. It's open. It's open. It literally is open forum. But obviously, it's a Lions podcast. What's the best thing about your job? Again, it's crazy to say out loud. Well, one is there's two things. One, on Sports Illustrated gives me the full autonomy to write and create whatever I need to. It's basically they give suggestions, but they're like, "You're in charge. You're a grown man. We understand." And the site has produced well for a good 8 years. So the autonomy is amazing. I don't have a boss truly. I have somebody I consult with, but I'm in charge of the content. I can like right now, if I want to write, like right now, if I'm like, okay, guys, good night, and I'm like, I'm kind of want to write about what Scotty Montgomery said. I just go write it and put it up. If I want to create videos, it's amazing. On Sports Illustrated puts it on Yahoo, MSN. I don't know if you guys have seen it. No one said anything, which is good. I don't know if this chat has seen it, but if I do a quick 90-second video on Sports Illustrated, spreads it all over the internet. So people from out of town will be like, I saw your video on Pro Football Reference, or I saw your video on a Sports Illustrated article, or I saw your video on NFL. Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the number of sites they put it on, but it's really cool the distribution that has been out there. That's one. Obviously, the joys of the job, building a YouTube channel is fun, but truly the best thing about my job is I'm not really supposed to be there. I'm a podcaster, and journalists were like, podcasters are uh, people that type capital letters for algorithm. They don't do nothing, but they don't recognize the hard work or the entertainment value or the fun you can have or the community building. They don't understand all that or the opinions you can share. Now they do because they're forced to, but I was shocked. I'm like, man, we started doing videos in 2019. Now the newspapers are catching up a little bit. They're a little behind. Now you're seeing the radio guys do the video reactions daily. It's a little slow. So the best thing about the job is to say that a podcaster who it was a regular average guy put it in his head that he could prove a lot of people wrong and climb the mountain. And I started a podcast. The podcast grew very wildly successful to the point it caught the attention of On Sports Illustrated. They interviewed me and they said, "What are you about?" And I said, "I'm a diligent, gritty kind of person. I don't give up. I want to prove." I'm very upset that I was not invited to come to these media sessions right off a rip. That's what I told. I told the bosses, like, I am just here to prove people wrong. And they're like, "What?" They're like, "You're not a writer." I'm like, "No, I'm not a writer. I use my words." They're like, "How did you build a podcast?" I said, "I did a podcast for 13 years straight, never took a Thursday off in 13 years, and it's still going." They're like, "You did a podcast?" Like, yeah, two kids. Yeah. The biggest thing is I get to talk to people, have a good time, talk sports for a living, get paid to do it, and the best part of the job is people thought that a podcast would never meet this level of success in the world. Pat, thank you to Pat McAfee. Thank you to Joe Rogan. Thank you to Adam Carolla to keep pushing this forward. And I knew when I hopped on in 2013, I knew the podcast train would be the train for me. That was the train. Choo choo. That was the train. So yeah, just truly, again, it's crazy to say. Like I said, I'm a psychologist. That's what I am, a psychologist and a podcaster. The best thing about the job is showing up there every day, knowing that I'm not supposed to be there, according to some. It's a crazy thing, but that's the truth. That's the truth. A podcaster, his first job is as on Sports Illustrated and writing for a big audience. Yes, sir. And my counsel is don't let anybody tell you anything. Use it as motivation. That's all I did. Nobody can tell you anything. You set your sight on a vision and you push until you get what you want. And remember, I didn't get a single dollar, not one single penny from 2013 until 2018. Think about that. How crazy you got to be. If you want something, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 years of growing and grinding and trying and lifting and failing and just the quickest story of grit is I would send emails and not get a reply. So I'm a happy man. That's why you always see me smiling. But yeah, I did piss. If you saw on X, uh, I pissed off the Red Wings fans because I made a satirical comment about Steve Eiserman not knowing the Stanley Cup. People were like, "How dare you comment on our king, Steve Eiserman?" I'm like, "Oh my god, if it's this easy to rile up hockey fans, I'm going to stay out of their lane. I'm going to let the Grindline podcast kiss Steve Eiserman's butt and try to sell that to people." What are the slappies saying today? Steve Eiserman is the Lord and Savior of hockey. I was like, okay, okay, people. I don't think I agree with you. But the Grindline podcast was like, we have all these names to come save us. Yeah, just on a side note, if you saw that conversation, was I out of line? I mean, it was satirical. I said that Steve Eiserman doesn't know what that silver shiny thing is next to Gary Bettman, and all the hockey people like wigged out. Oh no, some people are Lions free. We got to talk to that person. Yeah, I've called Meeks to tight end a few different shows in February, while others calling for Tesla. Yeah, Meeks is unique with his body's type. I just feel like he's undersized for the blocking. I think he's good as a catching tight end, but Rich Baldwin, are you Lions free? Draper's still there. That's right. That's what I've been trying to do. First, I'm starting with the fan base of trying to keep it real. Like what I'm doing is just exposing some different ideas so that when the disappointment hits, the devastation is not as bad. I feel like if you followed me last year, you wouldn't have been as disappointed because I asked the head coach, "What's wrong with your offense in week one?" I said, like my spidey senses were like, wait a minute. And so all I'm doing is just bringing up things to kind of be concerned about along the way. Right. So if you followed along with me, right around the time of the midway point of the season, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not feeling this season. I'm not feeling it. So you can call it realist, you can call it alarmist, SOL, you can call it whatever you want. But I feel like I've been on the pulse of kind of reality for a lot of people. Like, wait a minute, not everything is rainbow and sunshines. Sometimes it's a little bit tough. Doughboy Steve, just wait till Tesla is catching touchdowns across the back of the end zone. He'll keep doing it. So you're getting Tariq Black. That's interesting, huh? I just feel like, camp bodies, competition, bounce around the league. I wanted to see more of Dortch. I thought he acclimated well. I want to see more of TK85. What do you think? What do you think about this? Because a lot of people keep saying it. Like when I write that TK85 had highlights, people are like, man, he's wasting his time with the Lions. Like he'll always be like the 54th member of the team and never make the team. And then he wakes up and there's Tariq Black and there's Lucky Jackson. They two more receivers. Two more receivers. My God, let me list all these receivers on this team. And then just, I want just a brief moment to mourn sadly because I was a big fan. CBC is not doing hockey anymore. I am bummed out about that. When the Red Wings won, there's a dream that lives deep in every heart. The CBC, it was the CBC song for a good 5, 6, 7 years. I looked forward to the start of the playoffs when they would play it, and at the end of the playoffs, I play "The Chance May Never Come Again" throughout my week. It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. It's amazing. Moment of sadness for CBC cutting off hockey because of their broadcast situation. That sucks. All right. So your Detroit Lions have St. Brown, JMO, Tesla. Unfortunate for Kendrick Law with the torn ACL. But you got Dortch, Dominic Lovett, Jackson Meeks, Tom Kennedy, and Cedric Wilson. The Lions had a couple roster spots, so you don't have to make a move, but maybe there could be one coming. Let me get you the official CBC report. The official report, CBC Hockey. Oh, CBC will no longer air NHL games in end of an era as broadcast deal expires. So, you know how much I like you guys in the chat. So, not only did I share bad news with you, you guys then doubled down and repeated it back to me. It is my job to be on the internet and to report news. Now, sometimes you can question it, but a lot of times I'm right. So I had a sad moment, and now because of you guys, I have to live it again. No, in all seriousness, I like you guys. Question everything. That should be the mantra. Question everything. You should even question if the person talking to you now is a real person or a robot. I am a real person. It is I, the podcaster, writer, influencer, disruptor. It is I. But question everything. You guys are like, really? No more hockey on CBC? I'll read it here, courtesy of CBC. The CBC, which began televising NHL games in 52, had operated under the agreement since Rogers Sportsnet acquired the Canadian rights in 2013 for $5 billion. Rogers Sportsnet renewed those rights with a 12-year, $11 billion deal to begin in October. Rogers Sportsnet. Yeah, watching Saturday hockey night in Canada was for Hockey Town was just Don Cherry. Ron something or other. I haven't said his name in so long because of the Red Wings ills, I stopped watching Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday like 5 years ago. Yeah. Austin says, I respect TK85. Can't keep him down. He should be a coach for the wide receivers room. Yeah, it is one of those guys where you respect him, you see the work that he puts in, but they're always going to look at size and speed. And I just feel like he's a Lions practice squad lifer. Make sure you smash the like button. There should be at least 35 likes as we talk. 90 minutes in. My goodness. These shows are flying by. So, what do you think about the receivers? I like the addition of Dortch, but again, he's more a returner, size. So it looks like the Lions wanted more size to go along with Wilson and Tesla. Tariq Black. Alexander H5924. Good to talk to you. Good to see you in here. Which UDFAs do you think have the best chances of making the 53? Hunter, Kinanea, Kitzelman, or Anthony Lucas? I like right now, I think Anthony Lucas and Eric Hunter are on my radar. Lucas is being talked about. Eric Hunter. I think those two right now. The other two got a little bit of ways to go, but they can make it up at training camp and in the preseason by making plays consistently. Eric Hunter and Anthony Lucas have a chance to stand out and get a lot of playing time. What do you guys think? And obviously next week. So here's the programming note. Tomorrow we'll have the last day of minicamp. 4:00. Say a clap for the doc. It's amazing. We'll do one show tomorrow live, maybe a tape show Thursday. We'll see, because I'm doing Crunch Time, my own podcast on Thursday, Doc and Jock, and then we'll see if there's a wrap up. Thursday may be taped, Friday most likely live. We'll see. But I'm not taking any breaks. Oh, and then in the evening on Thursday, I might be somewhere that you guys will like. You'll enjoy it. So a lot of talking Thursday. So Thursday might be taped to allow the voice a little bit of rest in the afternoon hours. So we'll see. But Thursday, you'll hear from me a lot. And then Friday, and I'm not taking a break. I might do a little bit. I mean, obviously the marathon shows might slow down a little bit, but every so often, maybe we'll pick a day where we just say, okay, we'll go 2-3 hours. But most of the shows will be between 30 and 45 minutes. Just a lot of recap of some individual topics, a lot of interaction with you guys, but I don't foresee a break. I'm thinking about having somebody, if I trust, just come do the show from 7 to 8 for a week or two to, fill in, let you see a different voice. If you hate them, love them, I'll peek in and pay attention. But and then it'll be training camp preview. I'm ready to go all the way through. Let's see, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. The 26th season will be my 8th completed season when it's done. So we shall see. But we'll see. Obviously vacation, hopefully in the mix. A lot of golf. I want to play golf because that was fun. Riley O'Brien gets in. Great question. And listen to Riley's Lions Talk Live from the weekend. They did a great job. I believe it was Sunday morning or Saturday morning. They had a show at 7 a.m. It was really good. It was just debating Lions content creators and the voices that they brought to the table. Now, one of the hosts I disagreed with, his name does not come to mind at the moment, but he's like, fans just want to listen to positivity about their Lions. Yes, they do. But I think within that, there should be some counterbalance to that, to someone. There should be a show with two people, in my opinion. The best is two different conflicting minds, one a little more pessimistic, one a little more optimistic, and you balance the ideas. Because remember, you cannot just erase the Lions' history because you want to be positive. That's just because, in my humble opinion, Riley, psychologically, when you have that level of hope and it's not based in reality, when it does come crashing down, I think you feel more hurt as a fan than if you kind of had a little bit of doubt along the way and say, well, maybe the defense has some question marks, maybe there's other better teams, maybe there's something going on. And then when it doesn't go your way, you're like, well, yeah, there were some teams building up a little bit differently than the Lions. So that's how I look at it. If you're like on the hope train, I feel like a lot of fans were devastated last year. I'm like, why? The national media told you there were changes along the coaching staff. You added John Morton. He had issues developing the run game. He was fired from the Jets. We all talked about it. Can you build an offensive line? There were question marks. I didn't think it would fall apart to where they didn't make the playoffs, but I wasn't devastated because we had those question marks logistically in our brain. But you ask a great question. So I'm always of the opinion you mix all opinions in a single setting or a single show and it makes things interesting. Doc, if you had one reason to say why you feel the Lions could win it all this year, what comes to mind? Simple. Offense. Legendary. It has a chance to be legendary. If you connect, and I was just telling this to another reporter, and we said on the sideline today, we said, there's nothing wrong with winning games 45-35. It's going to cause a lot of emotional distress amongst the defensive guru lovers and me who loves defense. But there's nothing illegal about winning games 45-35. So Riley asks, Doc, spill us some positivity. The positivity is you could have potentially number one offense in the National Football League. Jameer Gibbs, 20 touches a game, 2,000 all-purpose yards. Jamison Williams gets even better. 1,000 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1,500 yard receiving, 12 touchdowns. You get Isaac Tesla as your red zone target as well. Sam Laporta stays healthy. Your offensive line just becomes this ferocious force behind Penei Sewell. And then you add more at the deadline, maybe even on offense. So you could have the greatest show on turf type situation on offense. And then you just mix in a defense that hold on tight, roller coaster. Maybe a couple of the defensive adjustments made make this team better. So that's my positive spin, is that you have the best offense in the league and it carries you this season. And it can happen. Extra Trim says they will be the next greatest show on turf. Edith Paul gets in. Strength of schedule will help. Rich Baldwin, Lions free. That's why I like Rich in here too. Rich is like, what are y'all babbling about positivity? Who's this Riley babbling on about positivity? My Lions glass has a crack in it and always leaks. Now, some people will be like, now, exactly. That Rich, you just tied it into the show perfectly. What happened? That is how I talk on X. Okay? That comment is reflective of my rhetoric on X. That is what I mentioned about Steve Eiserman. I said, Steve Eiserman is looking at that silver shiny thing on TV and doesn't know what it is. And all Red Wing Twitter was like, you're a boob. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, he won in 97, 98. He won this decade. He won in 08. I'm like, he is not a player anymore. He is a general manager of a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in the 7 years he's run the team, and the whole organization hasn't been there in a decade. I said, did I miss something? I know I've been, balls deep into other things. I've been busy, but did I miss a playoff run? Did I miss the Red Wings doing anything important? Did I miss something? And the hockey fans are like, what about let me just read it off because I'm like, you guys are holding on to these prospects like they're gold. I'm like, I don't remember their names. The Grind Line podcast wants to spit at me 50 prospects, and they couldn't handle my replies to them. But that's what I did, and luckily, I got some support on X from people like, the Red Wings aren't that good. So, and one person said, Doc is being satirical. He knows the Red Wings. He knows what the Stanley Cup is. And the Grindline podcast went with the idea of who the hell's running this account now. It's the same guy that's been running it since 2013. Not going anywhere. I'm here to not let the Grindline podcast blow smoke up the Red Wings fan base forever. But I like them. I like those guys. They have a good show. This is their reply. What gives you optimism about the Red Wings? They're like Cider, Raymond, Edvinson, ASP, MBN, Bear, Genborg, Augustine, Pastava, Alejo, Enyo, Plante, Finney. And you know what I said? I said, which one's the next one to tap out? They're like, if that's your take, you lost the plot. And thankfully, Insider Hockey's like, you're literally proving why the Red Wings are effed up by listing this off. Outside of the first three, none of these guys are proven. And we will be lucky if half of them work out. And I just messaged, thankfully, not all Red Wing hockey fan is a prospect lover. The Grindline they do listen. I listen to the Grindline podcast. I've been listening to them for years. They do good work, but they're on the Homer side of things. Whew. Homer Central. The latest Lions news, the latest Freudian slip. The latest Red Wing news is that, different teams are lining up. Florida might be interested, but I think it would behoove Yzerman to kind of play the cat and mouse game of denying a couple offers and let's drive that price up. Exactly. Be a realist and objective. That's a man. That's at least I just think that, see, in my opinion, I feel like I'm in the commentary and bringing up things to be nervous about. I actually protect Lions fans from devastating emotional distress by elevating your hopes so high that it's unrealistic. Could you imagine right now? There are some people in Lions media land that are telling you their defense is championship caliber. They don't have to worry about updating their defensive ends. They don't have to. They spend like world champions. There are some people that say, outside of winning a Super Bowl, the Lions are one of the top two organizations in football. And all I say is, well, they didn't win a Super Bowl, right? And they're like, well, luck and injury luck, and then I'm like, well, they didn't win a Super Bowl, so let's move on from that talk. Let's see about getting some more good players. Let's stop with the Lions are in the top 5 conversation when they're not. Exactly. Someone just wrote it. Exactly. Exactly. I get it, but there are a lot of young 25-year-olds that are dreamers, and I get it. I respect them. They want to make their Lions TikToks, and they want to, they want to, really in the end, cheer the loudest so they can say they're the best fan when it doesn't mean anything. It's there's no such thing as a fan ranking. We're all in the same boat, following the Lions and seeing what's going on. Riley, exactly. Riley's like, well, grown man. Hey, listen, I'm all for optimism, but I gave up being all positive when I was like 13. Exactly. You talk sports, you hope for the best. It's a simple thing. You hope for the best, but you kind of expect some wonkiness. You keep an eye out. You keep a side eye on your Lions. Like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you signing Jahmyr Gibbs to $20 million a year? Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Why? Question everything. Why are you doing that? Is that going to work? Why are you doing that? You can spend that money on a couple defensive ends. Why are you doing that? You can use a franchise tag for cheaper. Why are you doing that? Oh, look at this. See, Rich, you gotta acknowledge it. There's some hopers. You got some people that are completely on the other side. I'm more, I think, to be honest, I feel like I'm a centrist. I'm a centrist. I am cautiously optimistic, lean a little bit towards some pessimism and some wonkiness. Officials gonna do some things and injuries and bad luck and the player that you sign doesn't do well and the player that goes after Derek Moore is gonna do better. Because right now I'm sitting here going Zion Young's gonna be a legend and Derek Moore might not be, but I'm biased, humbly, in that regard. But I hope Derek Moore does well. He seems like ready to get after it. But I got a side eye. Why don't you take Zion Young? That's all. And you're going to have some people that are just going to be like, Derek Moore all day. Derek Moore, 9. He's our 9. He's our guy. He's better than Aiden. He's our guy. He's going to get 12 sacks this year. He's going to dominate 9 more. I'm just going to be like, and I'm the guy that's kind of like, okay, what about Zion Young? Why didn't you get Zion Young? That's all. Just a question. But I do it with a smile on my face. I'm the guy that they got to follow. I'm uncomfortable. Like that whole thing of like, as a poet, you don't have, if you're in a poet's room writing, you don't have an editor overseeing your poetry. But I get it. What's he asking? And plus, too, I've started airing my interviews so you can see. Actually, to be honest, I think subconsciously I started airing the interviews so that you guys can see I'm not a clickbait artist. I just ask direct questions. Now that's the third, fourth one I've aired directly where you can hear how I talk to the players. Direct, honest, man to man. Nothing to be scared of. It's just grown man talk. Nothing to be scared of. I want to play something here to get out of here. I'm going to try to find it and see if I can find the spot where he says it. But I'll just play it because you don't like when you hear players saying this, and I want to set the record straight. I want to find it if I can find it, but maybe I'll play it tomorrow. Isaac Tesla was on Good Morning Football, and he was like talking about OTAs, and he was like, at this time of year, these writers are just looking for headlines. I'm like, no, that's not the rhetoric I want to be hearing. I was like, no, Isaac, no. Let me set the record straight. Let me tell you the truth about covering the NFL. It's not that at all. Not that at all. What are we doing tonight after we get out of here? 2 hours just flew by. Holy cow. Tariq Black and Lucky Jackson. Does any of those two players have a chance to make the roster, in your opinion? Tariq Black. Woohoo. Has a game built for the headlines. Okay, I know where it's at. Like 606. Oh, see, it plays NHL and it plays the highlights. So I won't. Okay. So I want to just play it. I'm not gonna, because there's NFL highlights. I don't want to get the stream copyrighted. But Isaac Tesla is on Good Morning Football last week, And this is what he said. He was asked about OTAs. This was his commentary just about Dan Campbell saying it was a pajama party and that not a lot's going on. Manti Te'o's asking him the question. I want to just play it here, just the audio version.
So when I think about the off season, you just talked about it didn't reach your expectations last year. How have practices been so far in the OTAs? Where are you guys at minicamp right now?
Yeah, I mean the practices have been hot. I know people think Michigan is cold all the time, but it gets pretty hot and muggy out there. So just trying to deal with the heat, of course, is always a battle. But I know he calls it the pajama party. I think that really just comes down to OTAs is important, but the media this time of year is always looking for headlines, and they can blow things out of proportions and everything like that. So right now we're just trying to focus on us, get all the details. Obviously, with Coach Pat Zing coming in, we're trying to get together as an offense and really just mesh all together. So the biggest thing for us right now is just learning this new offense and really just getting ready for the upcoming season. Obviously, the big thing is when we get into camp, but just to have this time out on the field with your team, obviously not as high intensity as it is when it comes to camp. So just to be able to get all those repetitions, it's huge. And, we're excited to finish up this last week here.
Okay. Listen, he's well-spoken. He does the job. He's a good interview. I asked to speak to him right after that interview. I didn't get a reply, but I'll say this. Okay. When I heard that, we don't have in the media. Okay, Isaac, I know maybe you're hearing that or you think that, or you think things are just brought up. In the NFL, trust me, we don't have to chase headlines at all. Headlines will find you day and night. I wake up, headline. I wake up, thought. Right now, in my mind, if I sat down for the next 24 hours, I could come up with 24 stories. Okay, there's no narratives. There's no nothing. There's a question that we have about the defense. You talk about a player and their skill set. You talk about this, you talk about that. It's NFL. It's enjoyment. There are no narratives do you guys sense from the Lions media any narratives? No. We don't have to. I do not have to chase any headlines. Okay? Trust me, in the NFL, we're trying to back the damn train up and say, "Hey, wait a minute. There are too many of them." Like literally, we are thinking about minicamp, and the Lions just signed 2 more receivers. Tomorrow, we have a whole new set of coaches talking. As of right now, I have 8 stories that are chambered for the next 2 weeks. We don't have to chase anything. Doc, the headline hunter. Come on. Now, if you guys read Lions NSI, if you're truly following, yes, headlines have to be interesting, engaging to get the reader to support. But in the end, we have a readership. Most media companies in Detroit have a readership. There's a certain section of people that read the free press. There's a certain section of people that read the blogs. There's a certain section of people that they're already there. I don't have to hunt for anything. I can show up, ask questions, and I can write 60 stories. It's not true. You know what I mean? I think Detroit's, obviously we're in the interesting business and, we have to discuss things at OTAs, but the stuff that comes up is just natural questions that you guys have about the team. And that's how I've always viewed it. I don't have to chase any headlines. I don't have to chase clicks. They're there. The pot is there. I have walked up to it. It's just deciding which chapter we want to go down. It's a if you guys remember those books, the Tell Your Story book, we can go down the question marks of the defense. We can go down free agency. We can go down the current roster. We can go down the UDFA. We can go down the road of analysis, film, salary cap. Can the team win? Can the team lose? SOL. Come on. I just don't like that rhetoric. And if you follow Lions NSI, I think you can see it's just entertaining coverage that talks about hopes and fears, concerns and hopes, and things we like, things we don't like, things were said, things were not said, things that were said by other people, things said by us, things said by you guys, things said by the radio station. So bottom line, long story short, we don't have to chase anything. They find me day and night, and I'm ready for it to slow down after tomorrow. So tomorrow's the last day of school technically, but Thank you everybody for the 2 hours. Hopefully you're getting a lot out of this. I know it feels like sometimes I don't even know how I'm talking for 2 hours. I'm like, I just feel like I just started. But I like the flow of the show. There's talks about football, talks about life, talks about the project, what's going on. But, you know, you guys tell me. You tell me if you like the show. The show kept growing. 300 people on 200 people on X, 40 on YouTube. Smash the like button. So I think there's some people interested in listening. So I appreciate it. But if you, like I said, if you want, I don't want to be known as the guy that uses a lot of words to say nothing. So hopefully there's impact. Hopefully there's things you're taking out of this. If you want more direct commentary, drop a super chat and ask a direct question. Ask me how I ask the players. Well, real fast. Zion Young isn't as good as Moore. Thank you, Steve. Like I said, but again, I have a side eye. Are you sure? Why do you say that? Zion Young could have the more impact, but Moore could be the complete player. But the Lions could use the guy that can get to the quarterback on 3rd down and 8 in the playoffs. I only needed maybe a guy that, because you already have the sack master in Aiden Hutchinson. What if you just need that guy that in the, like, kind of like a guy that just is clutch? He kind of zones in and out, but when you need him, he's there. That could be Zion Young. 3rd down and 8 in the Super Bowl. He makes the sack and gets the fumble. Whereas Derek Moore could be safe. You know, in life, sometimes we have to talk about the boomer bust kind of player. Exactly. That's the biggest thing that combats the whole clickbait. Football sells itself. Exactly. And here's the thing. It's really funny when uneducated people use the word clickbait. Okay. Here's the thing. Okay. And here's the proof of whoever uses that word. When the reason On SI hired me was not because I could do clickbait well. They said, show us your audience, show us who listens every week. And they said, oh, this is how many people listen to you? I said, yeah. How many people follow you on X? This many people follow you? Yeah. How many people follow you on Facebook? This many people follow you on Facebook? They're like, oh my God, they started using their computers. They're like, wait a minute. They went to their AJ Hinch, Scott Harris mode. They're like, wait a minute. If this many people listen to him, when he does an article, this many people will read it. So I could just type the word "the" and hit publish, and a certain amount of people are going to read it. I don't have, I was high, and it's a secret, right, Riley, between you and I, and then whoever's listening. I don't have to do clickbait because the only reason I was hired, the reason why was not because I have a pretty face, a beautiful body, or I am the most interesting man in the world. I cultivated a respectable audience based on loyalty, trust, honesty, being real. So when people use clickbait, they don't understand that I came into it. I never, once I signed my name in 2019, I never needed a new reader ever. I never needed a new reader from 2019. The work from 2013 to 2019 can sustain me forever. Forever. They never understand that. They're like, clickbait. No, I'm just picking topics that I want to write about. If you like the headline, great. And guess what? If you don't like me and you call me clickbait, don't click on it. Guess what will happen? The lights will stay on. It's not, and also then I just look at it from another perspective. If I've been doing clickbait for 15 years, something has to be going right. and what that is that I'm a relatable person. When I did the podcast, my voice lent itself to be trustworthy. Like I would do the podcast regularly. I would engage on X, and that's what it was. Is I built an audience. So if there's any new members of the, now I'm having fun because guess what? How does simple common sense, Riley in the audience. How does somebody who does clickbait in 1 year get 10,000 subscribers on YouTube? Who the hell? I don't know who these subscribers are. But I know this, Lions fans love real people talking real things and are accountable. And if I make a mistake, I'm here right in front of you to take the daggers and say, hey, I messed up. But where are these 10,000 people coming from? That's the same story that lent itself to be successful on the podcast. I just show up, I do the work, I be honest, I laugh, I tell the truth, and I go home. And on a side note, for some reason, whether it be the Lions PR or people want to look at me for some reason. What's he saying? What's he doing? What's his angle? What's his stick? What's the headline he's gonna put up there? Nothing. It's nothing. It's normal. It's nothing. What's he saying? What's he gonna write? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna say? Listen, if you want to know, just go listen to the podcast. Listen, I'm the same guy I was 10 years ago. I just ask direct, bold questions. And yeah, if people want to click on it and they enjoy the title, so be it. It's not that serious. And obviously, by the way I talk, it lends itself to be not taken that seriously. Exactly. Exactly. That's how I've looked at it, is we're just friends talking nonsense, having a good time, throwing out ideas and sharing what we saw. That's all. There it is. Yeah, Johnny Gaz. It was Johnny Gaz who said it. He's a good dude. I like his stuff. I like a lot of the guys that Riley had on, but Johnny Gaz was like, the content creators are doing great because everyone wants positivity. I was like, I agree, sort of. You need some real talk too. Right. There's no, I mean, you just move on. If you don't like somebody, move on. I'm not going anywhere. Clearly, I'm young. I'm in my prime. I'm in my reporting prime. Today I was blocked off the path of a story, and I'm like, you are not gonna block the doc. So basically, I had, metaphorically, today is a metaphor for life. I had a corner. I had a pesky corner try to stop the doc in getting open, and not by being legit, but by grabbing my jersey. No. You don't do that to the doc. You don't take a flag on the doc. Next route, boom, slant for a touchdown. Boom, slant. You're not going to grab the doc's jersey. Are you kidding me? You can get a play. You can get a request in, but you're not going to stop me from hitting the end zone, baby. I'm a bulldog. I will ask. And at this point in time, I mean, like I said, I'm 47. I've been on the beat for 8 years. I'm comfortable talking to the players. Most of the time, I'm used to rejection. Most of the time, they're like, "No, man, no. I got to work out. I gotta catch a flight. I'm good. I'm good with rejection. But you're not gonna grab my jersey, baby. I will stand in the end zone and do a dance." So and in the end, when I know that the reward is giving information to you guys, I will battle the corner. Pesky corner. But in the end, you ain't blocking the doc. It's just not going to happen because I'm a freight train and an angry one. Doc, you're a goof like the rest of us. Your look on posture is how we could. Doc, you're a goof like the rest of us. Your look on and posture is how we know we could do it too. Right. And it's true. You can do it. You can do anything. Exactly. I'm a goof like the rest of you. But yeah, no cornerback is going to stop the doc. You're not going to grab my jersey. Oh, hell no. No, but listen, I get it. I respect that part of it. They're like, and actually in the end, to wrap it up for sure, that's the way I feel about this, is when it comes down to another team preparing for the media, they say, okay, they put my face up there and they're like, he's somebody. Pay attention to him. Follow him. Make sure you don't wreck the game. And it brings a big smile to my face, and it brings me joy to challenge and report and have a good time. And I like it. I respect people in their roles, but you're not stopping me from getting in the end zone. It's done. I've already scored. I've won the championship. Now I want my fifth. I want my fifth. And I won't be happy with my fifth. I want my sixth, seventh, eighth. And in the end, the bottom line goal is if I put in a request, I just want to text back. Just put a thumbs down, a no. That's all I want. Come on, a little text back. I'm worthy of a text back. That's it. No, just say no every day. No, no, no. We did. I see, Chef. You did what others have done well as well. You say, hey, no opinion on Sorsby. I want to say at the 48-minute mark before my 3-minute break, I threw the question out to the audience. My thought was no. I believe, people will talk about it. They will reference the guy in relation to being with the Lions. I just think you got Altmaier. I don't think you want that situation in town because guess what? And I say this humbly and respectfully. That guy joins the team. There will be some bets placed at the MGM for the Lions to lose week 1. Be like, there was a crazy bet put on the Lions to lose week 1. I'd be like, wait a minute. Listen, that's not to make light of that situation, but gambling in sports, I want to steer clear of that, especially I don't think that 1 year of recovery is enough for that situation. I'm going to need 5 years of recovery because I feel like that's like the ultimate bad juju. You get this guy on the team, he's going to bet the Lions to lose every week. He's going to be like, this is the greatest bet of all time. Lose. We're like, there was this weird bet. There was weird reports. There was a bet placed in the name of Extra Trim Reaper, Doughboy Steve, Chef Weisler, Doc. Be like, who bet all this? Like, no, was it Sorsby? Allegedly, he literally watched the podcast and took all the names and started making bets with these guys. You know what will happen, honestly, in all seriousness? Sorsby will be the one guy who texts me every day. Love your show, Doc. It's great. You're the best. I love seeing you out there. You're the best reporter. What do you think what do you think is going to happen Sunday? I want to come on your podcast. You can talk to me anytime. I'm your source. I'm your guy. Yeah, I'll be on your show every week. He'll be like, I want a regular spot. I'll be like, no. All right, everybody, that's good. Hopefully you laughed. Hopefully you're entertained. Hopefully you gained a little bit of entertainment in the time that you said, we'll talk about it tomorrow, obviously. I had that one special for the unknown Lions fan. Mike Kafka talked. We'll recap that tomorrow. I made a banner for the unknown, so I'll keep it. But thanks, everybody. Yeah, no, Extra Trim always laughs at the doc. That's all it is. It's all entertainment in the end. It's all discussion, thoughts, sharing opinions, and bringing you information from the inside. Again, like I said, it's a great job, man. It's you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about patience. You learn a lot about groupthink. You learn a lot about, the need for some people to want to belong. I only have one need, and that's to bring you guys in-depth insider coverage and to make you feel like you're right next to me, my pals. My pals following along with the Detroit Lions journey. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the 2 hours. That's cool, man. It flew by. I want to rewind it and do 2 more hours. But I think there's a crazy Netflix thing called Maternal Instincts. I think people are raving about. That's crazy. I might check that out. World Cup's on. So let me see. What's the game? Your quick World Cup update. It is Argentina. That's what I'll be doing for a little bit, and then I'll be checking out some Netflix. All right, everybody. Thanks again. I am the Doc, and I represent the Detroit Sports Podcast. I am an NFL reporter. I seek information. I question things, and I want you guys to feel like you're on the inside of what goes on with the Detroit Lions. I'm a podcaster. I enjoy doing it. I'm proud to do it. And in the end, best way to put it is I know I say that I do it because I'm told I can't, but that's just the personal side. Really, is I do start to think a little bit. I'm a semi decent reporter because I'm curious. I want to know. I want to learn. I want to ask. I want to probe. I want to disrupt. So I feel like I've kind of understood my niche and I'm doing it to the best of my ability. And I think so far, so good. Let's see where we'll take it. And hopefully you follow along with the journey with me and we see where this goes. On our way to 11,000 subscribers, let's see where this goes. This is all made possible thanks to On Sports Illustrated. Why? They support me. They give us great access and they give us all the tools to succeed. Check out the videos, the photos, the commentary, the stories. I think if you follow, you will get a little slice of factual information, entertaining information, thought-provoking type content, and just keep us in the mix. That's all I've ever wanted. Just right in the mix. I don't have to be the only person you listen to. I just want to be one of the people you listen to. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good night now.